Hey everyone, I'm Mehdi from TD channel, and today we want to turn this to this in Substance Painter. Now let's go to the video itself, but before jumping to the video, let me introduce you the brand new course that we release for Substance Painter. Learning Substance Painter is easier than ever. Hey all substance lovers, texture seekers, and awesome future artists. Welcome to Ultimate Course for Learning Substance Painter from zero to hero. Ready to learn how to texture with different projects? Substance Master released a brand new course for those who want to learn to texture with Substance Painter. In this course, we cover from preparing the model to rendering different projects, different challenges. If you want to level up your skill in texturing, come and check the Substance Master Ultimate course for learning Substance Painter. Okay, let's start the process. For the first step, I'm going to load the 3D model into Painter, and the default setting is OK for me. I press OK, and now it's time to jump to shader and viewport setting. Okay, now I'm going to display setting and change the environment map to a steady atomical. And for the environment exposure, I'm going to change it to 1. And in camera setting, let's change the focal length to 75. And after that, I'm going to change the tune mapping function to aces. And now we are done in display setting. Okay, let's go for the shader setting. In the shader parameters, I'm going to turn on double-sided, enable alpha blending because I'm going to use alpha map, and just enable bent normal. That's okay. And we are done in shader setting. Okay, now it's time to go for the main part. I'm going to turn off the lace texture set for a moment. And now it's time to work on the main part. And I'm going to use... Okay, let's start the process. For the main part, I'm going to turn off the lace for a moment. And now I'm going to use Fabric Canvas Smart Material from the library that it comes with the Substance Painter. And I'm going to tweak it. Let's go here, turn off all the layers. I don't want sharpen layer here because I'm going to add the sharp filter at the end. And for the base, let's change the color to something like light blue. I have it in the swatch section, and yeah, this is good. Okay, and let's go for the pattern and color adjustment. I don't want to have HSL filter here, so let's remove it. And this is the pattern. It's okay for me. Let's change the size of the document to 2K to see and understand well this material. Okay, now I'm going to turn on the fibers. That's okay. And I don't want to have folds here because I'm going to add wrinkles in other way. And yep, and this is the edge fold. I don't want it. That's okay. And this is the dust. Okay, so we are good for the fabric canvas crease material here right now. And let's go for add some touch on the material. For example, let's create a fill layer. Okay, I'm going to call it gradient color. And I just need to have color, make it black, change the blending mode to soft light, add a black mask. And in here, I'm going to add generator and use 3D linear. Okay, let's go to the mask. And in here, I'm going to invert it and play with the balance and contrast to have the effect that I want here on the model. As you can see, you can control it. Okay, that's great. Let's play with the contrast, and I'm happy with the result. Okay, let's go and add a paint layer. I'm going to rename it to seam and stitches. And I'm going to use the top stitching tool in the shelf for creating stitch on the model. Okay, now it's time to add the wrinkles to the model and on the surface. And it's time to add wrinkles to the surface. I'm going to use a different way. It's a similar way that we use in ZBrush to add wrinkles on the surface. In here, I just create some fabric wrinkles in the Marvelous Designer and bake it as an alpha, and I'm going to use it in Substance Painter directly without using ZBrush or any third-party software. So for the first step, let's import the wrinkles into the project, and I'm going to use them and import them as alpha. Okay, you can download these two wrinkles with the link in the description, and let's use it. I'm going to create a fill layer and put it after fabric canvas and change the name to the wrinkles, and we need just height. Okay, let's change the height to something like 0.5, and I'm going to add black mask, add fill, and now it's time to load this wrinkle to the grayscale input. Okay, let's go to the 2D view with the F3 on the keyboard, and let's go to the mask, change the UV wrap to none, and now I'm going to fix the position for this wrinkle. Okay, you can check it on the 3D view. Okay, that's great. Now we have some good wrinkles on the surface, and yeah, but it's not strong enough. Okay, and this is the highest amount of the height, but it's not strong. How we can improve the visual quality here? We can go here after sim and stitch, add a paint layer, and let's change the name to effect layer. Okay, change the blending mode to pass through, and right click and apply to all channel. Okay, and in here I'm going to add filter, and in the filter we have height to normal. Okay, that's great. Change the use word unit option to the false, and now we can control the normal intensity. And let's disable fabric canvas for a moment, and as we can see, yeah, it's super good to have height to normal effect on the wrinkles. Okay, that's great, but we need to control other layers height intensity, but we can do a trick at effect and wrinkles and bring it back in the down of the list. But we couldn't see the effect here because we need to go to height channel and change the blending mode of fabric canvas crease to linear dodge. And after that, we need to go to the normal and change the blending mode to normal map combine. And now we can see the effect of the wrinkle without any distortion from other layers. Okay, so let's change the normal intensity to something reasonable. And yeah, that's great. And in the wrinkle, let's duplicate, change the blending mode to linear dodge, and yeah, go here and fix the position. Okay, that's great. Yeah, we have the wrinkle on the surface, so much easy. Okay, let's add another fill layer, and now it's time to add this kind of wrinkle here. Okay, that's great. Okay, now I think it's enough for the wrinkles and the details on the surface. It's time to create pattern for this project. Let's go for pattern creation section. Okay, now it's time to bring some pattern on the surface, and for this purpose, you can create your own pattern You can search in the Google and use the resource out there, or you can use AI for pattern creation, okay? So in this video, I'm going to use Leonardo AI for the pattern creation section. So let's go to the image creation. Okay, now we are in image creation section. And for the first step, you need to change the preset to whatever you want. For example, here I need to have a vibe of graphic design. Okay, so I change it to graphic design, and in the preset style, I go for graphic design vector. You can choose whatever you want and test and have fun. Okay. And in generation mode, I choose fast because the quality is just only for premium feature and premium users. And in a dimension, I choose 101. And for the size, medium is enough for us. And in advanced setting, you need to turn on negative prompt and tiling. Tiling is super important when we want to create tiling pattern. Okay, and for the negative prompt, you can remove whatever you don't want in the pattern. Okay, so I will give you the pattern prompt for getting the same result, and you have access to negative prompt too. Okay, and you just need to copy and paste prompt in here and negative prompt in here. And in here, you just need to hit on the generate. And after a short while, you have some pattern that you can actually use in Substance Painter. So I'm going to download some beautiful pattern here, and I'm going to test it in Painter. Okay, let's go back to the Painter. Okay, now it's time to use the pattern inside Substance Painter. And for this purpose, we need to create a fill layer, and let's call it pattern. And we need just color, height, and roughness. And in the base color, we are going to load the pattern that we create, okay, like this. And let's change tiling to something like 3. Okay, that's great. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. We can rotate it again. And yeah, that's great. Let's add a black mask. And in here, I'm going to add a fill layer. Let's put it as 1. And now I'm going to add a paint layer. Okay. And let's go to the UV chunk. Select all the UV island here. Change the blending mode to subtract. That's great. I'm going to invert it with the X on the keyboard. Okay, and now let's select the island that we want to have. Okay, and this is the mask, the original mask, as you can see. Yeah, that's great. And I'm going to add an anchor point. Okay, and let's go back to the mask, add fill, and use the anchor point here to create a specific mask for this layer. Okay, let's change the blending mode to multiply. Okay, so let's play with the slider here. We want to create a perfect mask for our layer. It's great. Okay. And we can add height amount. Okay. Too perfect. Let's change the design and see what is the best. I think this one is better. You can change and play with the pattern, with different pattern, and get your result. It's okay. And yeah, that's good. I think that's good and it's enough. Okay, let's go here, change the roughness value to something like 0.8. And for the height, I'm going to put it at 0.3. And let's go here and add a filter like blur. Okay, and for the blur, let's choose something like 0.2. to avoid any aliasing effect on the edge. And for the lace part, I'm going to use a product from our market that you can find it with the link in the description. And you can download for free the material that I use here in this tutorial and use it on your works. Okay, for the lace part and for the top and strap, I use fabric canvas crease that we modified for the main body, and now I'm going to use it again and I create a base 2 for create color variation for the lace and strap. Okay, that's great. Now it's time to import some resource and work on the lace part. And for importing these resources, you just need to select them and click and drag into the library and just import it to your project, or you can import to your library. Okay, I'm going to import it, and now we have these two layers here, so let's use it. Before using the lace, we need to go to the texture set setting and add the opacity channel. Okay, and now it's time to use the tool that we imported before. I'm going to create a paint layer, let's call it lace, and right click on the paint and add fill. So basically we use fill layer as a sub layer of the paint layer that we create and rename it to the lace. And let's load the tool that we create in the material mode, and let's turn off the color, roughness, metal, normal, and we just need to have height and opacity. Okay, let's rotate it and change the UV wrap to repeat horizontally. And for better controlling, at the first step, I'm going to add a black mask. And with the polygon mode and element mode or mesh fill, I select this one. Okay, that's great. Let's go back to the sub layer. I'm going to call it 1. Okay, let's change the position and scale. And now it's time to add the second part. For the second part, I'm going to use the next tool. Yeah, that's great. And for seeing both layers together, we need to go to the data channel opacity and change the blending mode from normal to linear dodge. In this way, we can see both patterns together. Okay, let's keep the height and opacity. That's great. And fix the size of the lace and scale it down. And yep, that's great. We are done. Okay, let's add a level and change the effect channel to opacity and play with the slider here to have a strong mask on the opacity. And yeah, that's great. This is what I want from the tool and the result is super good. But how we copy these lines on the other part, it's not a good idea to duplicate the layer because we always want to change the opacity, the pattern, the color, and etc. So the best way is add an anchor point here and add another fill layer and just load the anchor point of the lace in this fill layer as a sub layer, paint layer that we create and rename it to the lace. Okay, and now we have this power to control this one. Okay, let's change the blending mode of the opacity to linear dodge. Okay, now we can see we can duplicate the layer, and let's go to the mask, select all the area here. Okay, you can see on the 3D model. And now it's time to put the layer where we want. Okay, for example, yeah, here. And that's great. And I'm going to pause the video and place all the strap on the position. Okay, now we are done, and let's see what we have at the end. This is the number 1. Okay, this is the number 2. That's fine. This is the level that we increase the intensity of the opacity, and we create the anchor point, and we duplicate this anchor point data on each strap. But we have some strange line here, and how we can solve this. In the 1 and 2, in the channel mapping section, in the mask, we can load the opacity, and boom, everything works well. Okay, so that's it, and we are done in a lace part. And for the last detail, I'm going to create another feed layer, and let's call it a strip. Keep the height, increase the height amount, add a black mask, go to the polygon field and select this line here. Okay, add field, search about the strip. That's great. In the pattern, I'm going to decrease the shift, and now let's increase the strip amount. Let's increase the tile, and we are good. And let's change the blending mode to multiply, and in this way we have only a strip on the mask selection that we did it already. Okay, let's go back to the material mode, and boom, we have this effect on the top section, and we are done with this tutorial. I hope you like it, learn some new things here. Please don't forget to hit the like button, share your mind in the comment section, and subscribe our channel. Please pay attention to the description. I put all the information that you need in the description for you. And for the last word, be creative. Bye.